Oh, really?
That's it. We're jumping right in.
Let's see. The bands that I've been in. Hi, Carbondale. I know how it
Don't
always...
talk to the camera, Fletcher.
I know how
You're
it always
talking
starts.
to me.
It always starts like, why would I listen to this person? Who is this person? That's the first comment is, who is this fuck?
And it's always Chuck Struce, but don't worry, Kara's
Sure
like...
enough. Let's see. I was born in Carbondale, 1981, October 8th.
No, you're already blowing past. We're not there yet. That's like...
You just want to go to bands?
Yeah, we start with bands and we'll get to being born in Carbondale.
First band, Luke and I started a band when we were I was like 15. He might have been 16 at the time, called Malaco Plus.
Okay.
We were in that band for a very long time, released 4 or 5 records, ended up changing the name to The Last Laugh around the year 2000. Played until like 2002. But I also played in other bands. I played in a band called The Holidays with a bunch of guys. Dustin Mendenhall, who owns Tough Luck Tattoos, was a singer. I played in a band called SS Bounty Hunter with John Dees and Josh Plemon and a bunch of other people. Put me on the spot to try to think of
I literally told you I was going to ask you this question.
I know, and I have to kind of remember now because things are incestuous. Where like,
it's okay.
I played in Near Death Experience when that band started, and with Josh after SS Bounty Hunter, and we also started the Lonesome Drifters band, the country band, after Near Death was fizzling out. Started doing the country thing. The Copyrights, obviously. And I played in a band in Delaware for a short time in 2002 called The Reaction for about a year. It was a band that I started with some friends. And moved out to Delaware, and then we came back. And when I moved back was when we started the Copyrights.
The usual star-studded story of we moved to Delaware to get famous.
That's where you go to get big. To play
and to incorporate your company because of the corporate tax structure.
That's right. That's where all the bills come from. So, yeah.
Well, we're gonna pay our Carbondale bills on this one, episode 91 of the WTF Carbondale podcast. We talk to interesting people about their interesting lives and tie it all back to this little old place we call home, Carbondale, Illinois. Episode 91. Adam Fletcher. Yes. Waste no time on this intro. We're right to it. Sorry, you were talking about paying bills and something.
No, nothing big. But I moved back from Delaware, and me and Luke and I and Ken, who is in The Last Laugh and Malaco Plus, we immediately started the Copyrights, and it's been an ongoing thing since 2003. So
how do you?
20 years.
What's it like? Just kind of working through the throes of like keeping a band just moving, whatever direction or whatever speed it may be at varying times. Right.
Well, our thing was kind of when we started the band, for me particularly, I guess looking back at it, I was very driven to be like, this is what I want to do.
Ooh, reflection. This is nice.
You got to look at it. It's been 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And it was very much like I moved out to Delaware to be in a band. I always wanted to be in it. I was always in a band. Yeah. It was just been a thing that's just been slowly, just a little bit at a time. So, yeah, whenever I was that age. It was 2003. It was like 19, 20 years old. 20. And we just wanted to do it, so we just did it. But there was a certain point where people that were in the band with us were not capable of always being able to do the tours. Yeah. So I would always put the cart before the horse, and I would book a tour even though we had no way of getting there.
That's great. Well, dude, that's how you got to do it.
Getting the show was the hardest part.
Yeah.
So then if you could get it, then it's like, we'll figure it out. We're going to do it. If it's in a car and we got to borrow gear, then it's in a car and we borrow gear, or if it's in, whatever it is. But that also applied to band members. So we've had several people fill in for tours throughout the years when other people couldn't make it. And that's just part of it. It's like we have shows, they're good shows. I want people to hear the songs. What friend of ours is available at this time? Luckily, our songs are very easy to play. Who do I want to hang out with?
That was the best way to just accept the role of pop punk in.
Yeah, well, it's not rocket science. 3 chords, cool. You got a guitar, and well, we have one. Here you go. I want to hang out with you in the van for a month. You don't have to be great, just be cool.
This is cool, and I hadn't thought to look to you for like kind of guidance as I structure out the Creatordale project and like work on getting just this like mass of creators just working together in town and around the way. But you're right in the acknowledgement that like, listen, have friends will flow, like just chase the music and we'll all be there at some point in time to make it happen. Everybody get the ego out of the way. Yeah. Realize that like the songs are good and what you're trying to do is play those good songs for as many people as possible. Yeah. So how do you get there? And maybe somebody has something going on, or somebody's in school, or somebody has a job. Well, who's around to fill in? You know, that kind of thing. It's not like you lose your place in the band. Yeah. I mean, some people have. But that's a natural thing that just develops over time. So that's kind of the way we've just done it. Just kind of keep going forward. And like Carbondale's like life line of like bands over time is just a natural progression of who's able to or not to participate in the band. Like, and everybody just gets that. Yeah. Right. It's nice, like you said, when people can just set their egos aside and understand that you're just playing in the mix with everybody. And you may be here one day, but you may be there another. And you may get to take a break at some point in time too. However, you need to work your own thing. And whenever you're ready to groove again, like everybody's there to participate. Yeah, things work a lot better that way. And yeah, I think most musicians that have been around for a long time might see that. Yeah. Younger people that are like, this is mine. Yeah. This is me. This is my brand, my identity. Sometimes it's like there's some ego connected to that maybe. And they'll learn through time. Sure. Yeah. You know. They'll end up being, eventually they'll be like, you know what? I don't want to be the front guy. I just want to stand in the back and play the bass. Are you like living in this like torn world of being the guy that wants to stand in the back and play bass and being the front guy? Yeah. We had another band for a while where Brett became the singer more. Brett, did a band called Dear Landlord. Oh, Dear Landlord, obviously, which was another huge band that I completely forgot that I was in. Jesus. Yeah. And I did get to just stand in the back and play the bass and just sing backup vocals every once in a while. And I wasn't able to make all those tours, so I was like, see ya. And then you got somebody to play the bass and, fill in for me. No big deal. But. So the real question that everybody wants to know is, will Darren Hall ever book the Ataris at Teen Town again? No. I can tell you no, because I just saw him at Full Terror Assault at Cave in Rock over the weekend, and I was asking him about Teen Town. And it sold to somebody. Somebody bought it, and it's now just like an office space or something. That might not be true, but find out if it is. Because Teen Town goes back to the 70s. Like that was that's a really. I just wish that people knew about the history of the spot, because it's a vital part of Heron's like culture. Of, like, this is a place where cool bands played. Yeah, and it literally goes through back to my father's generation in Heron. Like, it's absolutely a thing. It should have been a landmark. Yeah. And should have been probably purchased by the city a long time ago to be a community center. But I'm not into Heron politics, so I have no idea. But you are into history. I like some of it. Yeah. Well, I mean, the music history. Sorry, when I say history, I meant like that was kind of an all. Well, those things are intertwined. Yeah. Those things are connected. But like where did your like kind of first run at that kind of come from? Was it like, did you just wake up one day and you're like, aha, I want to start really? I was always kind of into it because I was always here. Yeah. So there's a certain point where I realize, I'm 40 and I might be the oldest guy in the room. Yeah. At this show all of a sudden. But also I remember coming home from a European tour and sitting at PK's alone and thinking about who might have just been through the same thing sitting at the same bar stool. Yeah. And like, there's a post-tour depression that happens to everybody where like when you're on this moving thing for a month where it's like wake up, get in the van, drive hours, get there, load in, food, sound check, show, people. It's like this constant, you're never alone. Mm-hmm. It's like this constant thing. And when that shuts off, it happens very abruptly, and there's a weird adjustment period that happens where all of a sudden, like, you sit in the back of the van and you eat fast food.
You sit in the van and you eat
driveway of
fast
the
food by
house.
yourself. But you also sit at PK's alone. Whereas if I would have done that, in whatever city somewhere else before a show, it would have been talking to people or not socially so much, but it's just a whole different thing. It's
just as like a holding time and place.
It's a
where
mind
you're at.
fuck.
Yeah.
There's a weird thing. And when that stops, it's kind of weird. But I would just remember being like, oh man, I wonder who else probably did the same thing, just flew back from Paris and now the first place they went was the bar or whatever, and they're sitting here. And so and I already knew a lot about Carbondale music history, but that really kind of made me want to figure it out.
Yeah.
So then I just started going down the rabbit hole and piecing together the family tree.
Uh-huh.
And, lo and behold, I'm arm's reach away from everybody
Yeah.
that ever, had anything to do with the music scene here, kind of in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because everybody's kind of interconnected in this weird spider web.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really the thing that kind of led me down that path, was just my figuring out myself, where I came from, the people that did this before me in the same town.
And where you came from was born in Carbondale in 1981.
That's right.
That's where you introduced
By Dr. Sung.
Nice.
And Dr. Sung built my house.
That's wild.
So
And now your wife's a doctor.
my wife's a doctor. And on my birthday every year, I would just think well, Dr. Sung was waking up to go deliver me in the same house, drinking coffee in the same kitchen. Full circle, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like the Carbondale thing, man. You're just part of your own story in a special way.
That's weird. Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah.
And just born right. Did you grow up in Carbondale, or were you surrounding community?
I grew up in Carterville.
Okay, we'll forgive you. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just where I landed. Carterville was good. I like it. I mean, I don't live
And
there.
old Carterville is different than new Carterville.
I don't know.
Distinctly different.
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I don't hang out. I never go there anymore. I don't go anywhere. I hang out at my house.
You're like, I'm old and I live in my basement.
Yeah, I live in my house. I have 2 children that I'm just managing all the time, and that's my job. But growing up in Carterville, I will say this: I had a great childhood.
Yeah.
I loved it over there. It was good, and that's where we first started playing music. We
Yeah.
had nowhere to play, so we'd rent out the park building and say we're having a birthday party and just have a show. We'd just plug into the outlets at the Cannon Park Pavilion. That's the first place I ever played.
Yeah.
And just invite our friends to come watch our crappy band play songs.
And it just worked.
Yeah, that's still what kids do, and they should.
So what was your first introduction to Lost Cross then?
I went there once. Mike Martin, who was the singer of Malaco Plus, who was older than us, was already friends with people in Carbondale. And I was friends with the Wax Dolls, and they were a Carterville band, and they were a good introduction to Carbondale for us too. But once Luke got a driver's license, then we made our way over here. So he's a year older than me, so I was 15 and he was 16. Lost Cross I went there on a weekday with Mike, and they were having a haircut and dye party where a bunch of people were getting their haircut and dyed. But I went to a show a couple months later, probably, and it was a band called Scared of Shaka and a band called Leonard's Innards. And Scared of Shaka is still one of our favorite bands and totally amazing. Leonard's Innards is awesome too. It was just a mind blower. And then once that door was opened, there was no closing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was this exists. I can go to a basement and see a totally amazing band for $3.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
And
I'm
it's
in. And I'll just drink soda. I don't even drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't do anything. I'm just going to drink soda and watch kick-ass bands and buy merch and be a part of that. So that was, we were in.
Has it always been that special kind of place for youth that are developing their tastes as they become adults?
Comes and goes. It ebbs and flows with the people that live there, but yeah, it's the only all ages place.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Where else do you go to? Where does your band play when you're 16?
Yeah.
The park building? No.
Well, clearly yes, but
yeah. But also, I've said this a million times, it's not a good place to play. It's a terrible basement. It floods. There's pillars in the way. It sounds bad. It's just not. It fits 50 people. You're never going to make any money. It's all the money goes to the touring band. I mean, there's rules. No local bands get paid.
Yeah.
No selling alcohol. There's rules. But It's also a great place
That
where
doesn't
like,
sound very punk rock. I'm kidding.
it is punk in that idea.
There has
that-
to be structure.
Yeah, there's
you
structure.
It can't be lawlessness.
That's right. The anarchy. But what I'm getting at is like in a dingy basement, hiding behind two pillars at 1 o'clock in the morning with just a handful of your friends is a great place to hone your craft and like build your confidence as a band.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose that it seems to serve. I mean, it really does. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I've said this before, a comedian going to a small room, working it out down there. Like, it's a good place to learn how to play music.
Who are you were telling me about like a comedian that like specifically wanted to come to Carbondale.
Oh yeah,
And,
Chris
like,
Gethard.
There you go.
Yeah, Chris Gethard. Yeah, he'll be here.
At some point.
Yeah, he'll make his way here.
Very good.
Yeah, he's obsessed with particularly playing Lost Cross, which is a hard gig.
Get your beer. Get your beer.
It's a hard gig.
Just hold it in your hand, Adam
Yeah,
Fletcher.
I know. I'm thirsty. But, doing a comedian down there, that's something else. But, yeah, Chris Gethard, he's been in a bunch of movies. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like just the America's Oldest Punk House concept that he's like caught up
We
in?
have
or what's
mutual
his-
friends, and
Okay.
he knows all about it. And he's married to a friend of mine who's played there a few times.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a landmark. It's a landmark. It literally is. You
Yeah.
Google Lost Cross and it comes up as landmark, which is really funny.
No, did you guys like do that specifically?
I didn't do that. No, I don't know how do you do that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have
I don't know how to
idea.
internet. No.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Is it Reggie that owns it now? Is
Yeah,
it go-
Walker's Rentals owns it.
I mean, dude, that's you can't really ask for much more than for it to be like part of a larger portfolio that can self-support, right? The existence of Lost Cross. and it
Yeah,
not
I mean,
be-
he bought it because of what it is.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's a thing that I love it.
Is there a particular like point in Lost Cross history that you're just like, this was the raddest point for me personally? Is Adam Fletcher? Like, is there like a time?
Well, I didn't start hanging out there until like 1996.
Okay.
So
That's still
7. I know.
20.
I know.
Your face is just like, thanks
I know.
for making me understand what age is like.
Yeah. But I remember then being like, holy shit, this place is 10 years old.
Yeah.
There was a point in time where whenever, I don't think I'm wrong when saying this, whenever I started hanging around, it was a lot of older
Yeah.
people. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I was,
He's like,
I was a child.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, but what I'm getting at is shortly after we started playing there and stuff, there was kind of an abundance of younger bands that started
Yeah.
to pop up from us doing these shows at halls, the Marion Civic Center place and Carterville and around town where just younger people started to pop up. It was also the time when punk was on the radio.
Yeah, yeah.
That had a really big effect on everything. So it became very mainstream and palatable to people and acceptable, and young kids were then interested in it. So there was a scene of younger bands that popped up in the later half of the 90s where that whole punk scene got very young.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was better. I don't necessarily think it was better.
It was just active in that particular way.
Yeah. And it was, kids doing it, so it was like pretty genuine. It wasn't just like people there to be a shithead. There was some of that. They brought their shithead jock friends to the show, but whatever, they introduced them they went to a show at Lost Cross once, when they were in high school.
And now that's there. Now
Yeah.
that exists. They get to hold on to that.
They do. They do.
Like, are there people that you like bump into that are just like, yeah, like I went to Lost Cross once. It's so cool that you're doing that.
All the
there.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. At least you went there or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even matter if you went. I don't know.
Just that you know.
Well-
right? Just to be aware, like,
I don't know. At this point, it's like, yeah, it's its own thing. It's becoming its own identity. There's this punk rock museum that's about to open in Las Vegas, and I have some artifacts that I'm going to send there. It was going to open in September, but they pushed it back because of remodeling, because of COVID and things.
Yeah,
So it
no
probably
doubt.
won't be open until next year.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a punk rock museum in Las Vegas that's going to open, and I have some artifacts that are going to be front and center in there.
What
So-
are they like? Are they what Can you?
I have a huge cross that's been in the house since 1999. Shortly after Easter of 1999, my friend Joey and I stole a cross from the football field at Carterville High School after Easter, and we put it in the car and drove it straight over to Lost Cross, and it's been in the house since then. So yeah, I broke that down, and I'm going to ship that to them. But I also have the receipt for the first month's rent from September of 1986. Signed the thing. I have it, and so that's going to go with it as well. It's an amazing artifact. The crazy thing about that was that Mikey Snot, Mike from Diet Christ, we've been talking a lot about stuff, and he was like, dude, I just opened up this book and it fell out like just a couple months ago.
It was just there.
Yeah. It was like, oh, well, that's fate. He's like, you want it? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who do you think, man?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's like, is there any more proof? And here it is. Like, here's this thing that's like the first month's receipt.
Was it like a fresh build in 86, or was it like...
I don't know. I didn't live there. But, I mean, I've seen...
There's no way.
I've seen the photos, and there's nothing on the walls. It's all clean and white, and there's no furniture or anything.
Whew.
Yeah.
What was the transition like taking stuff off the walls in Lost Cross? I mean, were you...
They don't come off the walls.
But is all the original stuff from forever ago still on the walls?
No, in 2002, the whole living room got re-drywalled by Billy Bollinger and Jeff Funberg and Bob Shaw and a few other people.
Okay.
So all of the graffiti, everything was... the photos were taken of the walls and the posters were taken down, and then got new drywall, and then the posters were put back up. But the graffiti and the markers and stuff, the stuff that was written on the walls is just gone. So if you want to get specific, the oldest part of the house, if you're ever walking around, is the wall in the kitchen that goes to the bathroom. And if you kind of stare at it long enough, these old faint words will kind of pop up where like you can see like old graffiti from a really long time ago.
But like all the flyers and posters and stuff that was all over the walls, I thought that all came down at some point in time in the last like 3 or 5 years. No, that's all.
No, it's like mostly glued to the wall.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was I thinking of? Like I thought that sometime like after.
No, it's been about 20 years since that stuff. And you can see it too because most of those. There's a lot of flyers. There's some flyers from the 80s and stuff. Not many. Most of it is 90s stuff.
But was there like a transitional point where there was like concern that there wasn't occupancy in the house and like it may not? I guess I really thought that there was something more that has gone on like in the past 3 to 5 years or so that like I don't know threatened some of the like core like visuals or functions of the house. But I may just be like way off base and not plugged in, which is totally also the thing.
Visually, no, it's still visually stimulating.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, but there was definitely a couple points in time where there was some rent that was probably due. But
what are you gonna do?
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah.
There were some fundraisers for rent and things to keep it going. So good thing everybody pitched in, kept it going. That's the good thing about like this anniversary thing is the last time worked out really well. Like we sold a bunch of tickets, a bunch of people came, and all of the money goes to repairing the house. So we just use it to fix things that needed to be done. We raised the basement 4 inches.
Wow.
Did all new wiring in the basement and built a whole new bathroom, kitchen floor, closets. There were a lot of things done. The whole new living room floors got redone. Things nobody notices.
Yeah.
When you go in the house.
Unless you're living in it.
Yeah, and you would never know. Yeah. But I noticed because I've touched like every single spot of that place because I did it all.
Well, were you ever really a property or like working on a house kind of guy until you were
No. It's not. Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, and I don't work. I didn't even do all the work.
No,
I just these are things that need to be fixed because if not, you might have some serious problems. It's taken a lot of abuse. It's been like 35 years of abuse.
Just straight
abuse,
beaten on.
Yeah, people don't treat it. Yeah, it's not treated well.
It's not supposed to get treated well.
But there you go. I come from the other school where I'm like, we should try to preserve this thing. That's very
fair.
fragile.
Part of it's like you can't treat it too nicely because that's not real punk rock.
It's never going to be.
But you also can't treat it so poorly because if it falls in, then there is no more punk rock.
It also is. Yeah, it ain't coming back. Like there's no like rehabbing the house. Like it's either going to be demolished and there's going to be an apartment building built there, or it's going to stay what it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's no like, oh, well, we'll just tear this down and redo it. It's like, nah, we're just going to start over. Like, this place is too much.
And then that would really, I mean, that would be a disservice to Carbondale.
It's going to be a sad day when it's gone.
Yeah. Well,
it'll happen eventually. All things come to an end, but it's just,
that day is not today, my friend.
I'm not looking forward to it. So
add another 25 years before you get down.
You never know. You never know. That's what I mean. 10 years, when I was 15 years ago, I was like, can't believe this has been here for 10 years.
Yeah.
And here it is 35, and it's like, whoa, that happened fast.
It really does just kind of.
Yeah. Goes by really fast. There's also it existed for a long time. Are we just going to talk about Lost Cross the whole time?
I mean, maybe. I don't know where we're going to
go. But I want to say it existed for so long because it never carried the entire scene.
Yeah.
There were always other houses. Basement venue culture
Yeah.
is a part of Carbondale.
Yeah.
And those places existed before Lost Cross.
All right.
So
we're not just going to talk about Lost Cross this whole time then. Let's talk about all the basements of Carbondale.
Oh, okay. I don't know them all. Someone from Champaign recently got a hold of me to ask that question.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on creating like a lineage of basement venues he wants to put over some maps and things to population growth and things, whatever. We'll figure it out. But
yeah.
I was like, I should probably sit down and come up with that. You want me to think about what I know?
Yeah,
I guess.
Sure. You're not really going to be able to think about stuff you don't know.
Trench Bar is probably the first, which is on Walk Up in Oakland. That was like 1984.
Wow.
83 to 85. The Fuzztones played there. Corrosion of Conformity played there. As far as much as I can gather. I mean, I was never around for any of this stuff, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, because you were two.
I was not around, yeah. But, shortly after that was Cafe Flesh, which is on Beveridge and Cherry, and that became Club Romex, which is a place that Malcolm lived at forever.
Yeah.
For like 20 years, and they had shows there. House of Voodoo, which is over on the other side of town, over by the police station. The house is still there. That carried a lot of weight for a long time in the late 80s, early 90s. But yeah, there's sporadic weird houses here and there that did a couple shows and things.
But none of them never saw Nirvana play.
None of them had Nirvana play, or they didn't sleep. Nirvana did not sleep at Lost Cross because in 1998, that was the rumor that I heard or whatever. So, and they didn't, and the Offspring didn't either. So, they never played here.
I mean, how much time do you have consumed in the Nirvana story?
I want to believe, and I don't.
And now you can't.
And I don't. Yeah.
Because you can't.
I can't. So
because you've been told otherwise.
If you want to get into it.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Nirvana.
Listen, man, we're not even at the half-hour mark on the podcast.
Okay.
We got all the time in the world.
According to the Daily Egyptian. And they're a reputable news source.
Here's the deal, man. I feel like somebody just talked to Robbie because I spurred Robbie on that question, and then Robbie told somebody who then told somebody the DE, and that was it.
They read it on the internet, so it's a fact. Okay, so here's where I'm going with it. 1989, July the 4th, there is a Nirvana. It's listed on the internet as their tour dates. Nirvana played 611 Pizza.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know that hung out at that time says I never saw that show. I can't find an advertisement for it. There's no anything. I have a huge stack of the original posters and flyers from the collection, like things that have been handed down.
Yeah.
That are all 611, the original like handwritten, here are the shows for the month things. There's no Nirvana anywhere. There's a band called Shravana. Shravan. And they played in October 20th, 1991, or something, maybe 1990. either way, they exist. They were made up of some SIU students. They existed for 4 months. And the mix-up comes from one person who claims to have been there and made up a story, said it on the internet, and everybody believes it. But the other people that are involved in this story cannot corroborate the story.
Yeah.
Malcolm Robertson, who worked at 611 Pizza at the time,
whose wife was like episode
yes, she was
57, give or take, of the WTF Carbondale podcast. Sorry, I always like to throw plugs in.
He had
the
a
middle
memory
this.
of serving somebody with long hair some pizza that had no cheese on it or something because they had like lost their food license. It was like a comical story. And it was probably before, we just talked about this last night. I'm getting off base here. He's the guy who apparently served the pizza to Kurt Cobain, and had this memory. There's the story on the internet that he has that says Malcolm was there. Yeah. Malcolm has every pay stub from every job he's ever worked. And a couple of weeks ago, he had this epiphany, and he was like, I'm going to go look. He went and looked. He was in Chicago working at a fireworks display that weekend. He wasn't even in Carbondale. So he was like, I can't even place myself there. So there are like two stories. The other one is about the soundboard.
The soundboard story.
And the soundboard story was that the drummer of Nirvana had spilled a beer into the soundboard and ruined a channel. And Chris Wissman had said, don't ever get rid of that soundboard because, it's Nirvana. Chris Wissman, I asked Chris, he's like, I was never there.
Yeah. As soon as Robbie told me that, I emailed Chris. And I was
also, the whole idea of them renting a soundboard for 611 from Robbie seems far-fetched because everybody was like, we never rented sound for that at all. It was just like somebody brought their shitty PA. The other thing is, if you look at the actual routing, it's insane. It's 650 miles or something from their other show. Like, they couldn't even get here in time. And it was on the 4th of July. Stupid. So Malcolm talked to the guy who wrote this tour date list, and he was someone who works for the Nirvana fan club. Oh. And he talked to him. The last correspondence he had with him was in 2014, but he had talked to him before that. So this whole tour date idea came from him contacting Malcolm about 611, Malcolm telling him the story about, I remember vaguely serving cheese to a guy with blonde hair in a band called Shravana. Could have been, I don't know. Nobody was around. Nobody would have cared. And the whole thing, the guy's just like, empty tour date, 611 Pizza, and that's it. And nobody ever questions it or ever even looked into the logistics of it. Yeah. But people want to believe, I want to believe, but it's just not true.
I love it.
And I don't know if that whole long-winded way about telling the story made sense, because I know we've talked about it kind of back and forth. Yeah, I apologize.
No,
there's a lot of stuff.
I love how like the entirety of the story is told in this tone of voice that is just you wanting to believe.
I want it to happen
so badly.
NoFX played at 611 Pizza.
Did NoFX actually?
Yeah, nobody cares.
You're actually signed to Fat Mike's fucking label, so
but nobody. There's no flyer for that. Nobody cares. But we all know it happened because people knew it happened. Yeah, and were around. That's the thing. Like, somebody,
when shows happen, people were at the shows.
Yeah. Or at least there would be some. You wouldn't hear about it 20-something years later. Yeah. You would have heard about it 3 years later when they were the biggest band in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And it would have been like there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There it's like Drake playing.
There would have been people claiming it.
Yeah.
But there wasn't. It was just became this weird legend that kind of happened. But it was a myth before. Like, that's the thing. In the 90s, it was Nirvana slept here. Somebody did something. I want to believe, if anybody listening to this went to that show and you have a way to prove it, please tell me.
Bring it forward.
Bring it forward. I want to believe. I want to piece it together.
The call. Yeah.
Because, there are plenty of bands that played in a basement or a bar and nobody was there that went on to be huge, successful things. Yeah. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Yeah. I have none of the stories line up. That's the issue.
What's cool is that plenty of stories in this town do line up, though.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah.
It works out. Yours is one of them. Well, I mean, I mean, you guys are signed again, right? You've got an album.
We're signed,
out.
man. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. At 41, what does being
Congratulations.
signed mean?
Yeah. There was like this time that we went to jail in the UK because we flew over there without the proper permits, and they did this like interview. They put us in jail and they banned us from the country for a year. But while they took us in these separate rooms and they were interviewing us.
Which one of you cracked first?
There was no cracking. It was more like, yes, you got us. But they were interviewing us about what we're doing and all this. And
all right, I need the unopened water down there. You're not on your water as much as I.
Sure.
We're breaking the fourth wall right now because I'm thirsty.
Okay. You can edit that out.
I'm not going to though.
Okay. Anyway, when I'm talking to her, she's like, you guys are a professional band. You're signed.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh, that's what.
And I'm like, lady, anybody with the internet and a closet can have a record label.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, our level of band is very low. Like, we're not.
We're not the Who.
Oh yeah.
We are.
The
Who?
last person they had in there was Belinda Carlisle. I'm like, we're not that. Like, we're flying over here with nothing. So
That's fair.
yeah.
No, we've done that with a friend of mine. Well, with Sam. God, this is gonna come back to bite us in the ass if anybody in immigration ever fucking reads this. But fucking my buddy Sam, who we'd shot his special here. It's literally like streaming on Amazon in the UK through a comedy service called Next Up. And
Yeah.
it's like it's much easier to hide being a comedian.
Oh yeah.
than it is to hide being
our
a
issue
band.
was that we had been caught before.
So this was not your first time being fugitives of the international immigration codes or whatever.
No. Yeah, what?
Our issue was this wasn't the first time illegally jumping into a country to play music.
Well, we got caught once, and then we had been in since,
Yeah.
so then I thought I could get away with it again. So, yeah. And it was also a thing where it was very short notice. We weren't getting any money. There was no money exchange, so there wasn't even an opportunity to apply for the proper paperwork.
Yeah.
It was a real dumb thing. We learned our lesson. We won't do that anymore. But we went back to the UK.
If you are listening, immigration officials.
We'll never do that again. And since we've been back, we went back and we did it right. They let us right in. Everything was good. We're on good terms. No, so
Good job.
yeah.
What's it like having like international following? Like, even if it's just thousands of people, right? There's still thousands of people somewhere.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's great. I can go anywhere in the world and I have somebody that I know. Like I could, hey, what are you doing? Like I know somebody in almost every city across Europe, Western Europe. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's all just because of playing music. It's stupid.
Is it a different kind of appreciation for music?
Yeah,
you're in.
It's a vehicle. It's a way to get you out of Carbondale.
Yeah.
By just playing songs that you and your friends wrote.
Because I've heard this place is a black hole.
It can suck you in. Easy living. Easy living.
Here's what's every time I
You leave, but you can easily come back. That's always the thing. It brings you back.
As soon as I'm out, they pull me right back in.
Yep.
No, I mean it's I talk to people all the time, and like it is on this podcast just person to person. It's like that's always the discussion when you're talking about like how you feel about Carbondale and what your concerns are and like how you're just always drawn back, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like I always wonder like when do people really start talking about Carbondale like this black hole, like this place of gravity that just doesn't let you go? And I'm like, did you guys do that? Did you guys start the black hole thing in the mid 2000s?
Maybe.
Or, was that already a concept and you guys just latched onto it and it became just a...
It was something written on the wall at Lost Cross that Brett wrote in a drunken stupor that we talked about.
All right.
And it just became a concept. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is how do you guys work out your creative process like as a band? And has that changed over time?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
At this point, we all live in separate places.
Yeah.
Luke's in Springfield, Brett's in Nashville, Kevin lives in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Luke and I have like home studios. And Luke is since Malaco Plus days has been crafting songwriting. So he sends me a song, I do my thing, we hash it out with demos, and then eventually we all get together and record our parts, basically, at this point. Yeah.
That's
where we're
good. I mean, it's
if he has an idea, we just send it to each other type of thing. I mean, that's how we work. Before, when we started the band, we would just go down to the basement and play.
Yeah.
But we're not in that position anymore. So,
do you feel like having been more polished musicians with time in this, that it makes it more manageable to work at a distance from one another?
Yeah, because we've always been, Luke particularly, but we're both on the same page. Like, it's hard to make something sound good.
Yeah.
And we're always working towards trying to make something sound good, better, make it better. How do you, the studio thing, like, so having a studio, it's fun we just remotely send stuff to each other, and we're both like involved in studio stuff.
Yeah.
Like we're into that angle. It's not just like, recording something onto Audacity and sending it on your iPhone or whatever. Like, we're not that level of a band.
Yeah.
We're more into like,
you've actually got microphones.
a lot of microphones, a lot of cabinets, a lot of angles, a lot of nerdy stuff. Yeah.
I feel like I need to ask you if I can come check out your home studio.
It's
so
nothing.
I can get a
It's
feel
not fancy at all.
Just to know what we're putting into the incubator and other stuff like that. It's like what ideas encourage. I mean, like this room, right? I mean, this, and it may just be this. Maybe this is just what I need to replicate.
That's all you need. I mean, you can get away with like. That's the thing that's so crazy now. A plug-in in your computer is every guitar amp ever.
Yeah.
And drums too. Like, you just replace the drum with. You want Led Zeppelin snare drum? Well, here it is.
Yeah.
You want the Nirvana snare drum? There it is. It's you can do so much with very little.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way music's made now. And especially post-pandemic. I mean, this is the way it is.
Do you produce anything off of just sound effects yourself? Is that something that you play around with at all, or?
Like audio?
Yeah. I mean, just sound effects, and however, I don't know any of the technical how to talk about it. That's my apology.
Yeah. I have a little studio and stuff. I've recorded a few bands, and Bedspin and Long Darts and some buzzard stuff here and there, and
that's legit, man.
Around. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I think so. So one of the other things I want to do as part of the Creator Dale project is like map out the studios of Carbondale. Like, I think if we like,
that's a thing that when I was going through my music history rabbit hole was the recording studios of Southern Illinois, because there weren't that many up until things got digital.
Yeah.
Or at least 4-track. The 4-track took over the 80s. You could do things on the cassette tape in anybody's house. And that cassette tapes obviously dominated all 80s releases.
Yeah.
But, there weren't that many. There weren't that many places in Carbondale, like, 60s, 70s. And a lot of them were doing gospel stuff and kind of, but, yeah. Well, you had Smokestack Studios, which was out Makanda or whatever. But I don't know where I'm going with any of this.
Dude, it's the podcast, man. We just you
if you want to go down the history,
they go any and everywhere.
If you want to go down the history of Carbondale Studios, I mean, you had Noteworthy, which did a bunch of things in the 90s. They had a recording studio and they had a record label there, put out stuff on Reception Records. And Joe had Soundcore Studios forever.
Yeah.
That was the first place I ever recorded. Come to think of it, those were kind of the only two big ones that I can think of that dominated the 90s. And, Mike Lascilius, of course, Miss Studio. But, there's stuff. And now you can just do it all on your iPhone.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, I watched a video or a series of videos the other day that was like, the guy was just using his phone as his microphone. And that was the first time I had really like seen that, no on the street mic, lapel, no boom, no nothing. Just,
Here it is.
Here's, somebody's filming me with their phone. Here's me recording your voice with my phone. We'll send the files together and boom, we're there.
Yeah, sounded good.
It was wild.
Yeah,
it's wild.
crazy.
I mean, just the quality. And it's like, so the question then becomes, what is the value in the content that you make? Like if everybody's level playing field is all equipment, and I think, like you said, the pandemic does this just as well, right? Every big name anybody was forced to record from home.
Yep.
Right.
Now we're all on the
every
same
late
level.
night talk show,
Right.
everything. So then the question is, like, do you have the merit to warrant? Is your creativity? Is your sound? Is your interview? Is your joke? Is your painting? Whatever.
I know. Yeah, it's weird. And also, like, what makes something better than something else?
Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, I don't know.
Because it isn't just notoriety.
Yeah. And things that are popular, I'm like, who?
Yeah.
You know, and other people.
What year is
I know,
it?
I'm 40. But at the same time, other people are like, who?
Yeah.
You know, like, they bought a good publicist this month.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't have any real fans, but they got, you know.
They got some news articles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they look larger than they are. And it's a real mind fuck of what
Fake it till you make it stuff, man.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Now is just, there's so much publicity because of social media and overexposure.
Yeah. Well, here's what's something that's crazy to me, right? So I had this guy Hollywood who was on the podcast in like the 60s range, and he was an SIU student for a couple of years, and then just like he kept performing.
Yeah.
And like he was doing videos and he was doing songs, and he was cranking it out, and he finally had a song that popped off like 3 or 4 months ago. And now he's going through the remix process and shooting more videos and getting signed and doing all this other stuff. But like at the same time, I see his Facebook page when he posts something, and it's like, you know, just a handful of people they're engaging. It's like, hold on, so you've got nearly 100 million streams and 30 million music video views and all this other stuff that exists over here.
Because there's an audience that isn't that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's like crazy how you can have the even the segmentation of your own fame, that you can be incredibly famous and notable here, and then you can still be kind of private and personal over here. Because like when he was doing his behind the scenes video shoot stuff of like doing his video with Soulja Boy and whatever else, it was like, okay, cool. Like I feel like very privileged to be like viewing this as one of, you know, just a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
They get to see this through a very personal lens, while everybody else is kind of at the gates listening on Spotify, watching the YouTube
we
video,
were also
whatever.
a band that started in 2003.
Yeah.
So like MySpace wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
So we have an older audience that isn't. Yeah, we've been a band for 20 years, so maybe not our social media crowd is like older people that still come to shows and buy records.
But at the same time, you're just as apt to get picked up by
the
beast at some point in time, right? Like if ever like something hits and it just becomes
whatever
a song, and all of a sudden you're TikTok famous.
You love that.
Dude, I'm not getting off of that. I'm telling you, like, you're going to wake up one day, in a couple years, and you're going to be like, why do I have 1,000 emails?
Yeah. Why is there a million plays over there?
Like, what is going on here? And it'll be like TikTok teens found the copyrights. And
that would be
it was just the right time.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, that stuff's all right place, right time. Who knows? I don't know. But we've been a band for 20 years.
Yeah.
That shit doesn't matter to us.
Yeah, you just love doing what you do.
We've been doing it since high school.
Yeah.
It's all an extension of, we just do what we do. We like hanging out with each other sometimes. No, we do. And we like playing music with each other.
Yeah.
And what else? I mean, I don't know. That's it. No goals, no aspirations.
just fucking
from
punk
the basement.
rock, man.
We come from the basement.
Make the music. Well, dude, I mean, it's an overall wholesome music story. There's just no bullshit about it. Just
That's
like,
true.
you know, that's why it will have staying power throughout the age. It's why so many different people and bands and sounds have that staying power. And I'm sure, I mean, again, you know this because you get to dig through the history of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
That like, because most people were in it for the right reasons.
Right. Yeah. That's mainly the staying power.
Yeah.
And if somebody might be in it for the right reasons, but they also might move away because they graduated from school.
Yeah.
And then they go get a real job. That's usually the way things work in Carbondale. Because once you graduate, there's no job for you here, so you move somewhere else.
Did you ever think that this would lead to like civic contributions like you're involved in now?
No, absolutely not. Not at all. No.
What has that been like? Be gentle. No, I'm just
You know, I don't know. It was the type of thing where I realized, oh, well, I'm 40 or whatever, almost 40. I will be in October. But, you know, again, it's like I'm old enough to care.
Yeah.
And I'm a homeowner. My wife is a pediatrician.
Yeah.
I live here. My kids are here. I'm entrenched in this,
Yeah.
and I fucking care about it.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. And also, Carbondale's pretty small.
Yeah.
And the leadership here is very easily accessible.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you have a plan that is well thought out and you have your shit kind of together, they'll listen to you.
Yeah.
And that is a thing that you should take advantage of, because in other larger cities, you won't be paid attention to.
Yep.
So I feel very grateful for the people that have paid attention to me and listened to what I had to say. Things have just kind of slowly fell into my lap, one thing after another.
Yeah.
So it kind of went like with, the Eclipse show, and then Halloween, and then the Lost Cross 30th anniversary, and then other things. And it's just like, if you can show the people that are making the rules that we can do this, here's a template to how to do it, whether it be at the varsity, like bringing in my own projector and my own home theater
There you go.
system
Plug that video that's coming up.
to play
Nice.
or to play a movie.
Yeah.
I showed a movie here, which I think was like the first movie at the varsity that they showed since forever. And it was just totally DIY. It was just like, I'm bringing my own stuff, but here's how you do it. And then here's how you show movies.
Maybe that's the other part of the charm about this place that I never quite put my finger on, is that even though it's like this old building with some sort of stature and meaning and whatever, it's still like a DIY venue.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It totally is.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Yeah.
You have a board of people.
Yeah.
But everybody's just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, this is as DIY as it gets.
Of
Like,
course.
we're sitting in,
Yeah.
people don't see. Eventually, when the room is done, I will do some like around the room video magic, right?
Well, you
But,
can't
like,
see it, but there's a waterfall over there. There's
There's some-
marble flooring.
unicorns.
This place is great. It's federally funded. Yeah, no, but it is, yeah. And then I don't know, that's the DIY thing. You just do it. You make it happen.
Yeah.
Something doesn't exist. You want it to exist. Get off your ass and go make it happen.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
It's like Carbondale story right there.
It is. Yeah.
Build it out of sticks. Who gives a shit, man? Just build it.
Yeah, do it. It might suck, might not, but
Yeah.
and some people will like it. Some people might not. Who cares?
All
Just
right.
do
So
it.
you were talking about the early concerts you threw. Let's talk about one in particular.
What do you want?
Your guys with the face masks.
Face mask.
The guys that dress like luchadors.
Oh, yeah. That was a Halloween show. Low Straight Jackets.
Low Straight Jackets. Thank you. I've seen them on Conan O'Brien as well. And other stuff
they were on
like that.
Conan.
And I pissed them off that night. And I pissed Steve Mitchell off that night.
Why are you such a dick?
I asked Robbie. Robbie said, go ask who was working the stage.
Well, it was a couple of people. I was gone. I was in Florida.
That's fine. So I asked Robbie. Robbie says, I don't care. Just go ask whoever's on the side of the stage.
Yeah.
I went and asked whoever was on the side of the stage. Whoever's on the side of the stage says, go give it a run.
What'd you do? Tell some jokes?
No. Oh my God. I can't believe you haven't heard this. Oh my God. This is your first time hearing me tell this story. This is great. Okay, cool. That's okay. Oh, so all I wanted to do was announce that the varsity that evening would have a Midnight Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. So I asked Robbie, say, hey, Robbie, can I go hop up on stage and tell people that the varsity's going to do a Rocky Horror Picture Show at midnight? And please come on down. I said, yeah, sure. Just go make sure it's cool with whoever's on the stage. Go and talk to whoever's at the side of the stage. And then right as Hugh, and I don't know if it was Woodbox Gang or if it was the People versus Hugh Daniil or whichever. Hugh,
It was Woodbox.
Okay, it was Woodbox. So I go up and I'm like, hey, Hugh, like as they're coming off stage, you guys care to do like an encore? Because these people definitely want an encore.
Yeah.
I want to make an announcement, and I also want to like get them jazzed up about whatever. So in the 30 seconds, Q gets his confused look, like, what the fuck's going on, man? Whatever, I'll just go with it. Like, just, you know what I mean? So I get him, so I jump back up on stage, and I huck and I shuck my varsity stuff for like, a minute or two. They come back, they plug back in, and I threw the whole like function of the show off because now I pushed Low Straight Jackets back
stage,
by
Nathan.
like 10 minutes.
Get off the stage.
And I come down and I'm like walking around, and Steve Mitchell is booking it up the side of the stuff. Like, how the fuck did he just get up there? What the fuck is going on? And like, we've never like really talked about it. I don't remember if I've like apologized to him outright on like, I wasn't there to like blow up your show, man. I was just there to promote something I asked. Like, I didn't just jump up on stage and grab a mic. Like, I went through a chain of command that was clearly not the full chain of command.
Fair enough. I will say this though, there was a little bit of animosity about the stage. I had some issues because I was out of town.
Yeah.
I was in Florida. We play a festival down there in Gainesville that we've been doing for like
oh yeah, I can't wait to talk about Less Than Jake. We'll totally talk about Less Than
something.
Jake in a second.
But that was when Donald Trump was in town.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, hey, I don't want anybody getting on that stage. Like, I don't want any.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody using that stage for any political platform at all.
Yeah.
Like, this has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Well, luckily we were.
That had nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sure.
no.
But yeah, I don't know.
It was lucky happenstance that he just happened to stay at the airport instead of coming all the way through town to the arena.
Yeah. Well, we had our chance.
So like, wait, you get to pal around with some folks that have some bigger names in music just by virtue of like being.
Yeah.
And I like big Less Than Jake fan, but like who are some of the, like the notable folks that you like that you really enjoy that you get to like pal around with or have relationships with, or that just kind of makes it cool because music is just a small world, and if you play punk rock, then you know other people that play punk rock.
So many. I mean, I don't even know where to start.
Well, make sure you offend all of them by only listing. Like,
I mean, honestly, like, I don't even know where I would start with that. Like, yeah, there's just certain people. There's people in. Like I've said before, the world of punk rock is really pretty small.
Yeah.
Like, once you stick around for a long time, you will rub elbows with everybody. Yeah. Also, like, I don't know how it is with every genre of music, but there's a thing that punk prides itself on of being, like, accessible.
Yeah.
The artists are accessible. Like, if you walk around to the back of the club before the band plays, chances are they're going to be, like, standing out by the bus.
Yeah.
And they'll talk to you.
Hey, man, can I bum a square? Let's chat.
Let's talk. Like, whatever. Yeah. Maybe not always, but they're pretty accessible. So that in itself lends itself to, like, being able to talk to people. But there's, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people. I would say, like, someone like Kevin Seconds, who is the singer of 7 Seconds, which is a huge band for me when I was growing up. Like, being able to call him a friend of mine is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Because his lyrics meant a lot to me whenever I was a kid. And there's so many people like that. Like, there's a lot. I don't want to, like,
even
go down the rabbit hole of, like, I don't even know where to start.
That's a great
answer
to it.
Or, like, even being, like, when you're in, like, whatever city, you look over and you're like, oh, man, that's so weird. Like, that's the guy from that band. He's just having a beer, like, hanging out at the show type thing.
Have you ever had somebody come up to you and be like, I'm a big fan, and then, like, you're kind of taken aback that...
Well, that's always a weird thing. There are, I mean, obviously, a lot. People with, like, tattoos and stuff,
that the copyrights.
Oh, tons. Yeah, not like the lyrics.
Does anybody have Adam Fletcher tattooed on there? No.
No, but someone did have me write out lyrics, and she tattooed it on her arm, like the way I wrote it. Like
that kind of
stuff. Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah. So there are people. I don't know. What do you say to that? I don't know.
Dude, like, no, like, your handwriting is literally, like, permanent on somebody's
And I was
body.
like, I don't write well. I went to public school. Like, I'm not. You don't want this, I'm pretty sure she covered it up by now, but I don't really know. But, there are people. It's awesome. It's great. I mean, what else could you ask for, I guess? That shit means so much to other people, too. It means a lot to me, obviously.
Are the kids picking up... some of the...
My kids?
Yeah.
No, not at all. No,
much rather follow in mom's footsteps than dad's.
Yeah, my daughter's 4, the other one's 9 months old. So
we're not quite
there yet. I mean, we have instruments around the house, and everything I do is too loud.
I believe that.
So yeah, it is. I agree. That's exactly what I said. Yeah. First time Elliot saw us at the hangar for Halloween, she was like, "Dad, it's too loud." I'm like, I know, it is too loud. But we have instruments around the house, and obviously, there's a recording studio in the basement, and there's bands around, and I'm always doing band stuff. So I have no doubt that will probably rub off in some way. Yeah.
How'd you and Bleachner meet?
We go back to high school.
Oh.
She saw Malaco Plus back in the day at the Java House back in the early 90s. We've been friends since early 90s, mid 90s. Yeah, we've known each other forever, our whole life, basically.
Were you guys like in your like mid 20s or something when you finally like clicked, or was
we started dating when I moved back from Delaware. So that was probably 2002,
Nice.
2003, and then we broke up for a while, got back together.
Good.
We've been together for a long time. Yeah.
Nice. No, I couldn't pass up like at least some parts of the family life and just be like,
No, it's
Adam Fletcher, the rock and roll family man.
Yeah. I mean, she's amazing. She's incredible. She's the smartest person I know. And
In that one song that you guys do, gosh dang it. I've been listening to a lot of copyrights since we started. Oh, dude, yeah.
Getting oiled up.
Yeah. Well, not even just for this. Like just since we shot the thing with
the video.
No, Gary Gabula.
Oh, okay.
I can't.
Yeah.
Remember
Gary
butcher's
Gabula,
last.
yeah.
Thank you. Because I'm just not going to say it correctly. I don't
That's
do
fine.
last.
I probably said it wrong,
I don't
too.
do names well.
probably said it wrong.
.com. But yeah, ever since then when we started just like kind of clicking on stuff here is when I really started listening to you guys, and so like I hear things and like I literally envision this as like, oh cool, like this song is like
About
Adam being in love with Amanda. It's kind of like it's a really like cute feeling. Like it's kind of the same thing where like if I go up and I tell a joke about my relationship with my wife and like understanding that like part of the art is part of the real life and like understanding where some of this stuff originates
You
from.
probably get a lot of the Carbondale references.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like
And Southern Illinois
57
references.
North. Like yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Oh yeah, all day long. And I'm just like,
Those are kind of littered throughout our whole discography.
I really like because it's something that not everybody does, but it's what you guys do well, and then what all the guys for Lone Howl have done real well with is like sprinkling in the Southern Illinois and the notable things like that are just kind of in the background there.
Right. Yeah. Good. Well, when you give like a song kind of like, I don't want to get too
No, you don't. Yeah,
chopping it up,
yeah.
but a lot of our lyrics are kind of maybe a little bit open-ended.
Yeah.
But when you give it like a specific point, like here's a street or here's a landmark,
Yeah.
it just kind of gives it some sort of weird anchor that, if that makes any sense, like it kind of points your brain into, oh, well.
Because you've got all these feelings and
51.
ideas and thoughts and
I could sleep all night on 51.
Yeah.
What's that mean? 51. Oh, it's a highway.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like if people sing about Route 66, why can't people sing about Route 51?
That's right. Or 57 North or whatever.
You ever gonna get rid of the van?
My van?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would like to.
Really?
Well,
is this are we announcing the?
no. Have you looked at the cost of vehicles? It's astronomical. I can't afford it right now. But I would
fair.
like to get something that's a little bit bigger. I don't really necessarily want to go hanging out in a dirty backstage right now during a pandemic. Like I'm having I'm a little scared of that.
So you're like not worried about, do I need a new band vehicle at the moment?
Well, I might want to get something that's a little bit bigger so that maybe we could just hang out and have a little bit more space in a bigger van.
All right.
Like a shuttle bus type of thing. But,
you're-
I probably won't buy one because cars are astronomical and I already have a van.
Yeah.
So
Why get rid of it when
that's
it works
the
for now?
second van. That's the second Dodge B350. It was the first one was a prisoner transport vehicle
Nice.
that we bought from Missouri, came from the Department of Corrections.
Isn't it crazy? Like just the secondhand van market that people don't understand if they're not in.
I called the guy. He had two of them, and he sold it. And I was like, damn. And he was like, well, I got another one, but it's got no seats in it. It's just full of bars on the windows. And I'm like, I'll be right there. I'll be right there.
I can't come by it fast
Exactly
enough.
what I'm looking for.
You mean it's tough to break into and it's empty?
Yes. Yeah.
Deal.
Exactly what I need. Yeah. So we had that forever. Drove it into the ground, and then I just took all the bars out of the windows and put them in the same model van that was like 5 years later.
That's great.
Yeah, it's okay. It still works, but we're at the point, like I said, like I might want a little bit more room.
Cheeseburger wrappers eating in the back of it.
Yeah, I told you that
Coming
story.
off tour, man. I mean, that's
right. Well, I told Nathan this story.
Oh, you're like, and he's going to bring it up in the podcast, of course.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's what happens. I use these things against you.
Sometimes
So, yeah.
post touring, like whenever I had more free time, one of the things that I find comforting is like living in a van.
Yeah.
So you drive around in a van, like sleeping in a van all day. And so sometimes I would find myself like going and getting fast food and then just eating it in the van in the parking lot or like the mall or whatever. And like, that's what I would do on tour. It's like a comforting thing.
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got their thing that keeps them in the zone for what they do in life, and like that's the thing that works.
Yeah. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But you did it before, which is why you get razzed about it.
Yeah,
Now.
that's fine. Yeah. I mean, I still enjoy it. I still like eating fast food in the car. It's probably a comforting thing of like being on
Well, now
tour
you
all
got
the time.
kids, so you got a great excuse to drive around and eat fast food in the car.
Yeah.
There's some Happy Meals.
Here's a
There's
Happy
a bottle of
Meal.
milk. I'm going to eat my fries and burger
That's
up front.
right.
It's all.
Those are
great.
bad habits that I don't try to enforce on my children, but
At least you've got somebody that is a very mindful and cognizant person in the household that understands.
she's a pro. Are you kidding me? I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Well,
So-
listen, man, you said it, not me.
Oh, I live it. I know. Are you kidding me? I never even went to college.
He went to the College of Life. He's hold on. God, I'm trying to transition out of this, and then what was it? That's the. Not the college thing. I'm thinking like the Silver Spoon
School of Hard No Knocks.
Yeah, the school.
Went to the School of No Knocks.
School of No Knocks.
It's the opposite of Hard Knocks. I had someone from Italy send me a really late night Facebook message recently asking me specifically about what that meant. And I was like, it's the opposite. I actually said something like, a lot of douchebags in the United States put, I graduated from the School of Hard Knocks.
Uh-huh.
And it's the complete opposite of that. And it's actually like, kind of describing our privilege of where I come from. Yeah, I didn't grow up rich by any means. A coal miner's salary in a 2-bedroom house in Carterville.
Yeah. Which mine is your?
But I in the scheme of the world, I won the lottery.
Yeah.
Man, I'm like, I won the lottery. I'm doing fine.
Which mine? Do you,
he worked at Old Ben
Oh.
Coal up, in Benton,
Right.
up there.
I got family coal miner stuff.
Oh, yeah,
But that's an issue for another time because we're wrapped up on this one, episode 91, WTF Carbondale podcast. Wait, no. I keep trying to exit out of this. Lost Cross 35th anniversary.
Oh, yeah, that's right. September 24th and 25th, Lost Cross 35th anniversary. There's bands all over town. If you want to buy a wristband, it's $20 from lostcross.org. It gets you into all the concerts. There's a show at PK's on Friday, Hangar on Friday, Lost Cross outdoor stage on Saturday, and then PK's and Hangar on Saturday night. All the stages are outside. Everything's outdoors. Entertainment district, open container.
Yeah.
Let's have a good time.
What a blast.
I hope so.
And we will have a good one, folks. Whatever that one may be.